Let's take a call.
You got Megan. How you doing?
Hi. I'm doing all right. Can you hear me?
Yeah,
Yes.
we can.
Hi.
Okay. Hi. So I was calling in to tell you guys that I pretty much think you completely rock.
Thanks.
Thank you.
We think you rock.
I think you're right.
And my question was about any book recommendations that you could give me. I've read a lot of atheist books already. I mean, I've read books by Richard Dawkins and Michael Shermer. I haven't read anything by Hitchens yet, but I'm got a couple in my Amazon wish list. But I like a book, something to help me be a better skeptic in general, not just an atheist. Better, you know.
Let's go back and forth. You do one, then I'll do one, and you let us know if you've read them or not. But yeah, these are.
Wait, did you already say Carl Sagan,
No.
Demon Haunted World?
No.
That's my favorite.
I'm
glad you didn't.
Yeah, there's actually that one and a second Carl Sagan book that's newer, that was actually edited from lectures that specifically addressed religion. His wife Andrea put it together. It's called The Varieties of Scientific Experience. Both of those Sagan books I'd highly recommend. Enumeracy?
Okay. I was going to, I haven't read it yet, but I hear that John Allen Paulus's new book,
Irreligious.
Irreligious, is, I've heard him interviewed on it, and it sounds like the right kind of thing.
Yeah, but with regard to like general knowledge and skepticism, Enumeracy is one of the top 2 books I recommend every time. There's nothing in there that is atheistic or in any way. It's a look at how bad we are at math, how poor we are at understanding both vast numbers and probabilities, and how bad we are at assessing things, how much we rely on common knowledge, inference, induction, and how this can be a good thing. But going back to what I was saying just before we took the call, it's all about how you develop the tool set to allow you to make the good decisions. You know, when somebody comes up and says, oh, you're just not going to believe this, I was abducted by aliens last night, my answer is, you're right. I don't believe it. Tell me more and give me more information, and let's look at the claims and see if there's not a more reasonable solution, if there's not a way to implement, Occam's razor to eliminate leaping to little gray men from, someplace else that abducted you.
I have another recommendation, and it's not really a book about being skeptical, but it happens all the time in the book. It's Richard Feynman's memoirs, Surely You're Joking, Mr. Feynman. I mean, really, it's just sort of an autobiography told in very funny little anecdotes. And so a lot of it is just the life and times of this Nobel Prize-winning physicist. But this is the book where he wrote about the concept of cargo cult science, I believe, which I've quoted many times on the show. And he also, as he goes, as he recaps his life, he talks about times when he had to deal with students who sort of uncritically accepted the things that they were being taught without understanding them, and how that makes them a bad candidate for an actual scientist. He talks about how he looked into hypnotism and how he found out his father helped him figure out a magic act. So I'm a fan of that one.
And I guess finally, since we don't want to pull off an entire, huge reading list, if you want to go back in time a little bit, and I find this interesting, we've lost a lot of ground, and by we, I mean humanity on the whole, in part because of things that religions have done, and I've talked before about the destruction of the Library at Alexandria, which there's no way to really tell how far that may have actually set us back, because that was at a time when knowledge actually was fairly easily lost. It's not as easy to lose knowledge now. But even in the 19th century, the views in America of freethinkers, or the view of freethinkers, was considerably better than it is now. And you have great orators and essayists like one of my heroes, Colonel Robert Greene Ingersoll, who speaks out against the Bible, against religion, against Christianity specifically, but also on the general, speaks out in favor of things like an 8-hour work week, who speaks at the Republican National Convention, who has debates and friendly rivalries with pastors around. What we're seeing now with the newer books, is kind of a fallback to some of the stuff that was happening in the 19th century. And there's a book from 1841, I think, by Charles Mackay, called Extraordinary Popular Delusions and the Madness of Crowds. And it goes into detail on delusions and shared delusions and what was popular then. And it's shocking how many of those things still are around in some form or another. So it's kind of a good way to help build up the baloney detection kit that Sagan would advocate. So.
Yeah.
Hi, that sounds really interesting, actually. I've got one I'm reading right now that's called Discarded Science.
Mm-hmm.
And it's all about ideas that seemed like a good idea at the time, like about how we've progressed from thinking blood was continually produced in the liver to understanding how things really work.
That'd actually be cool. Does it go into things like phrenology, checking the bumps on people's heads, and other ideas like that, the ether theory? And
I believe it does. It definitely goes into the luminiferous ether. I've just finished the first chapter, which was all about the age of the Earth and the plate tectonics, things that preceded plate tectonics.
That sounds great. Who's the author?
Yeah, who's the author?
The author is John Grant.
Okay.
All right. Well, I'll look that up and add it to my list. So you helped us out, too, because I haven't read that one.
I'm glad. I just wanted to say again that, I mean, you guys are really awesome. I'm actually calling from out of the country through a Skype number, and I don't have too many people over here that I can, like, talk with in English, and listening to this show every week is just kind of a little bit of a lifesaver for me, I guess.
Oh.
Wow. Where are you?
I'm in Hokkaido.
Oh.
Where?
Hokkaido, Japan.
Oh, okay.
We have, there are other listeners who've written us from Japan.
Really?
Americans in Japan. I tell you,
Send an
this
email.
would be a good time to remind people that you can email the show using the address tv@atheist-community.org. That goes to myself, the co-host, and everybody behind the scenes. And Megan, if you want to, you can email me. And if there are other listeners in Japan right now that are looking for other people, so they don't feel so alone.
2 weeks ago we had Steve, who's an Australian in Japan, writing to us saying.
So maybe we can connect some people in places where it's difficult for people to do it themselves. But please don't hesitate to call in when you want to, or drop us an email, or have a discussion. You know what? That's the big reason we do this, and I'm very happy and touched to hear that what we're doing has had a positive effect on your life there in Japan, and we hope things go really well for you.
Here's Jason in Japan as a U.S. expatriate.
Yeah. So yeah, definitely drop us an email anytime you want, and thanks a lot for calling, Megan. We really appreciate it.
All right. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.